coming from Montreal. So we were in Canada for this one. And as a result, the show opened up with Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn opening the show with Olay chants from the crowds. Obviously, a very pro-Sami crowd. So no great surprise that we open up with Sami. Of course, he's going to be in that main event for Saturday night's main event. It's going to be a fatal four-way. Winner is going to go on to face Drew at the Royal Rumble. Trick Williams would get involved. Again, maybe not a massive surprise. Trick is also in that fatal four-way. Apparently, Trick Williams made Michael Cole break on commentary with how he got in the ring. I haven't actually seen this clip, right? Nice. A little... Honestly, I was chatting away during our watch along, so I didn't see any sort of like weird entry, but just the way that he held his leg there for a little while and then stepped inside apparently made Michael Cole break on commentary. So he gets into the ring, basically said, "You and me are not the same," which Sami agreed with. He's like, "You and me are not the same. You are not on my level when it comes to what I can do in this ring." And obviously, we were just building towards that match at Saturday night's main event. Damian would come down and said, like, "You've been going around running your mouth off, but you didn't do that with me. I think you're afraid of me. And, you're not been popping off on me." And he's like, "Oh, you want to see me pop off, do you?" And then he nailed Sami with the microphone. And that kind of brought an end to this opening segment. So Damian against Trick was set as our main event. A very surprising main event. Not a main event that feels main event worthy. I know that this is all to promote Saturday night's main event. I know it's a great way of getting some spotlight onto Trick before things get too busy. We know at the Rumble, there's a chance of Jericho. There's a chance of Powerhouse Hobbs or Royce Keys, as is rumored to be getting called. Roman, we found out, is going to be in the Rumble. There's a chance that Seth comes back before Mania at some point. So we do have an opportunity right now to kind of really get some of that younger talent into some positions we might struggle to get them in a month's time. So Trick being in the main event, getting some spotlight onto him, I'm not down on it, but I don't know. Is this going to be a show that's going to really help ratings much? I don't think so. We know that SmackDown the past few weeks have been in the 900,000 range. Is this show going to really turn that around? I don't think so. This was a perfectly fine open, but I don't think it was anything that special, right? Really just to promote Saturday night's main event. I suppose in a way this show had a bit of a go home sort of vibe to it as a result. Backstage we had Carmelo and Miz. So Miz is like, "What happened when people hate each other?" And he was like I hate you. That's what Carmelo said to the Miz. And the reason why he said that is because we found out that Ilja would be getting a shot at Carmelo. A lot of respect between Ilja and Carmelo, and that's what wound the Miz up. And here, look, Wrestle Talk just saying, look at that shiner that Ilja has got. So obviously he had a showdown last week with Sami, battling to try and qualify for that fatal four-way. That seems to be the memento, the little thing that he took away from that battle last week. So this led us to our opening match, which would be the Ilja-Carmelo match, and it's not even close. This is match of the night by an absolute mile. You lot scored it great 66. And so, yeah, Carmelo against Ilja, battling for that United States Championship. And what's wrong with you? That's what Carmelo said to Ilja during the match. Dude, what is wrong with you? It was intense. They were battling away. There was some really good stuff that was going down. I found myself getting a bit frustrated with the commercial break interruptions. I would love to see Carmelo, Ilja, add a PLE. Just let them cook. I think that would be so good. So I was a bit frustrated with like going to commercials. But the Miz gets involved. I was also a bit frustrated with the finish. I think Carmelo retaining makes sense, We don't want to flip-flop the belt around. Ilja being protected makes sense. So, you know, The Miz getting involved makes sense. But, you know, these two can always put on a banger. We were doing some really good work, and then the finish is what it is. I'm not saying the finish was wrong, but I can understand why people would be like, oh, you know, it's kind of like, oh man, these two could put on such an amazing match. Why can't we just let them do that? But I get it. I'm not moaning or complaining. I understand. I can see what we're doing. I get it. It's right Carmelo retains. It's right that Ilja's protected. It's right that The Miz is involved. Because he is involved. Clearly he is still involved. He had words with Carmelo just before this match backstage, as we saw. So he is involved. So I get it. So great 66. But make no mistake about it, if these two had a proper clean match on a PLE, could get a serious score. That could get a serious score. Something else that might get a serious score is this, right? They announced 2K26, the Attitude Era Edition. This is going to have a lot of people excited. I mean, 2K26 is obviously going to be an improvement, you would hope, on last year, which was an improvement on the year before. You know, we were kind of maxed out with how big the rosters are. So what we're looking for is just something that's going to really grab people's attention. Well, an Attitude Era Edition, and actually having a lot of Attitude Era kind of matches and moments and arenas and all that stuff in here. And look at this cover as well. I mean, so cool. The show never stops. Pre-order January 30th. So that was a pretty big announcement. A lot of people, that cover is gorgeous. A lot of people really into what they've seen here. So this could be really good for 2K. This could really grab attention. Wrestle Purists had a look at the cover and said they realized Triple H is wearing big gold, but that wasn't in until after the Attitude Era. I think it's hard to know when the Attitude Era ends. Off the top of my head, I think a lot of people would say maybe the moment John Cena said ruthless aggression to Kurt, that marks the beginning of the ruthless aggression era. When the Attitude Era ends is debatable. Some people would say it's when WCW go out of business. Some people would say it's the end of the invasion angle. Some people would say it's when John Cena says ruthless aggression. It's all very close. I can't quite remember when this belt comes in comparison to when Cena said ruthless aggression. I think it might have been after. So if it was after that, then there could be some truth to this, but I don't know. It's not like a big botch in my mind. It's all around that sort of 2002, 2003 sort of time period. So I don't know. Just an interesting talking point. There really could be something to this. It could be that it just looks a little bit out of place, but I don't personally see it as like any kind of major talking point, any kind of major botch or anything like that. It's all around that sort of same time period. End of Attitude, beginning of ruthless aggression type stuff. So yeah, interesting. I would say a talking point that kind of came out of this show. So I would say the open was okay. The first match was the best match of the night. The announcement of the game. And then we got this, which was really good. So this was like an interview in a space where we've not been doing interviews. This was a sit down with Michael Cole. And I am just going to use this as an example of some movement with creative. Nothing seismic, nothing crazy. But I am going to use this as an example of where we're actually putting some effort in. You know, this could have been Cody doing an in-ring promo. This could have been a backstage interview with Jackie Redmond or Kathy Kelly, right? But instead, we actually went to a room where we did a sit-down with Michael Cole, which is not something we've been doing in recent times. It was different. It gave you a different flavor. It just gave you, like, you know, something different to look at rather than in the arena or the backstage area. So I was kind of into this. And then Jacob interrupted. And I thought what was said here was quite interesting as well. Basically, we had a few comments about Jacob being locked up. And that's really grabbed attention, that we actually have brought in the fact that Jacob has been to prison. And actually, Jacob would talk about that. He was like 16, locked up, 18, locked up. And you know, I don't think that he's made mistakes. And he's spoken before about being in prison, watching TV, seeing the Usos, and realizing, like, that could be me. That could be me. I could have that. And that being a real moment that turned his life around. So it's a journey. Life is a journey. Part of Jacob's journey has been going to prison. Not the kind of thing that you necessarily expect them to bring into a promo, but they did. And it really did resonate with people. Something else that resonated was the fact that he confirmed that he attacked Drew because he believes Drew's the person that attacked him. So he's like, I was targeting Drew. You know, it was only when you put your hands on me that I started thinking, Cody, and before he could finish that thought, I think Cody interrupted him. And it really felt to me like Jacob was saying, I blamed Drew for attacking me, but when you put your hands on me, it got me thinking. And I think he was about to accuse Cody that maybe you was involved. Actually, maybe it was you that attacked me, but he never quite got to finish that thought. I think there is a bombshell coming. I think there's an accusation coming. Cody, I think you might have been involved, or you might have been the one that attacked me. And we would hear from Drew later. Drew very clear it was not me, and I believe him. Drew was like, if I did attack you, Jacob, I'd be gloating about it, and I believe that. So I think Jacob did go after Drew. I think he's starting to have some second thoughts now. So some interesting bits here. Just whilst we're on the topic of Drew as well, there was an interesting point he made, because Cody was like, you're an idiot. We could be fighting for the WWE Championship at Saturday night's main event, but because of you, we're not. And Jacob was like, the WWE Championship? The way I see it, Drew was already out before I stepped in front of him. So it's like, Drew had that match won, Cody. You was going to lose that belt anyway. Doesn't matter that I got in the way. You was losing that title. So it doesn't matter if you lost the belt, because you were going to lose it anyway in that moment. As SlamX says here, it's actually a good point, to be fair. That's actually a pretty good point. So plenty to take out of this. This was the highlight of the show. I mean, I would say SmackDown at this point is like, not bad. Pretty okay start. Not a bad opening match at all, right? I know the finish might not be what we were looking for, but we get it. And then, you know, this sit-down interview's like, okay, yeah, we're keeping this ball going, this momentum going. And then I think it's around here that it starts to kind of really struggle. So we get Chelsea coming out dressed as the Mountie. That's awesome. I'm definitely here for that, right? So obviously we're in Canada. She was channeling that. We got an announcement that Roman is going to be in the Rumble. I'm also here for that, right? But I think the next match we get, which was Jade Chelsea, really underdelivered, really underwhelmed. It wasn't very long. Jordan Grace was out there at ringside. You lot scored it good 87. So this is kind of like a match that just really doesn't give us much. Jade wins. She looks good. Jordan confronts her afterwards. Jordan announces that she's going to be in the Royal Rumble and then says, you know, why don't you defend your belt now, actually? And of course, Jade's not going to do that, so Jade just walks away. So, yeah, you know, there wasn't really too much to this. But Jordan has announced she's going to be in the Rumble. Then we got our next match. So this was the MFTs against the Wyatts for the tag titles. MFTs come out again with that lantern. It was going to be Solo and Tama that were going to go for those titles. So I didn't catch this. Apparently, you see this, Bray. Oh, shiz. You see this, Howdy. Apparently, Bray got his name mentioned by Solo. So that's when he looked on the outside and said, do you see this, Bray? Shiz. Do you see this, Howdy? I did not catch that, but it seems like Slam X picked up on that being said, so there was a couple of times where Bray got referenced by Solo, so interesting. Bottom line is that we've got new tag champs. So Solo on the outside nails Loomis with that lantern, and it is a win for the MFTs. I got to tell you, I think this is going to really surprise people. I think people are going to be surprised because I think the Wyatts losing the lantern was probably enough. And people thought, okay, they've, I think, lost the match the other week. They've lost the lantern. They ain't going to lose the tag titles. They are. So the Wyatts are in a real hole. I don't mind it, personally. You know, I don't think the Wyatts have ever really been about championships for me. Like, they've got a much bigger meaning for being here. There's a whole backstory to these characters. There's a whole universe that Bray created. You know, when they came in, they weren't talking about belts. They were talking about family and righting wrongs. You know, think about it. They went after Chad Gable because of how he was treating Otis. You know, they went after the Miz for the way that he had treated Bo. Like, they weren't looking at gold. They were looking at righting wrongs. And obviously when they came back, they went after the tag titles, whatever. But for me, it doesn't really matter. That's not really about what this group is. So they've lost the belts. I'm sure they can win them back. I'm sure they can get their lantern back. I'm sure this is going to be the start of the comeback. But I don't know. Perhaps we're going to really push them to a darker place. Perhaps this is going to put the pressure on the group. They're going to have to do some soul searching. Perhaps things got a bit too comfortable. Perhaps we're going to need to find a bit more of an edge. I'm not against this. I know there's going to be a lot of Wyatt fans that are going to be like, oh my God, you know, we thought that the Wyatts had been buried. We're just going even further with that burial now. But I don't know, like maybe you've got to lose everything to find something that has been missing. And I think we can agree something has been missing with the Wyatt Six. Wyatt Six, good 90% for the match. Again, not great. Do get a talking point, though, of new champs. And to be honest, that is the thumbnail for this video because it was probably the most significant moment. It was probably the big talking point, new tag champs. But, yeah, I mean, everything that kind of follows this is not really of that level, to be honest. And the match quality was not very good either. AJ Styles Nakamura has been made for Saturday night's main event. All throughout this show, we had people going up to AJ going, are you sure you're right to put your career on the line against Gunther? Even Shinsuke was like, are you sure? How about you prove to me that you're still phenomenal? Face me at Saturday night's main event. And, well, the match was made. And that's how we ended up where we ended up. So that match has been added to the card tomorrow. Next match was Johnny Gargano against Nathan Frazer. Johnny arriving with a new theme song. I'm not sure if it's new. They all sound so generic to me. And Tron. So yeah, this is not Rebel Heart. It's some sort of evil, heel, generic theme, which was instantly forgettable. Didn't rate it. Didn't even know if it was new or not, to be honest with you. I just wanted to hear Rebel Heart. But obviously, he is a heel at the moment with Candice by his side. So it's probably right that he's not using that as a theme. Axiom came down on the outside with Nathan. And Wade said the person under the Axiom mask tonight is actually Chad Gable. So Chad Gable getting a mention by commentary. We are expecting him to return at the Royal Rumble. Right, I thought the finish for this was very creative. You lot didn't seem to like it. This match only got good 86 as a rating. So again, another match that really underdelivered. I thought there were some moments in here between these two. I think that's a bit of an unfair rating personally, but to each their own. I definitely scored this higher than that. I just think people maybe weren't keen on this finish, but basically Axiom comes round. He puts the mask onto Candice. Johnny is distracted. He tries to get the mask off his wife, off her face. She doesn't know who's grabbing at her, so she lashes out. Johnny goes down. Nathan Frazer wins the match. I actually thought that was quite creative. Some might say silly, stupid. I could understand that. But, I mean, let's not pretend that we've never been to these levels. I mean, on this same show, we had R-Truth turn around to Adam Pearce saying he's going to sleep easy tonight, knowing that his balls are in safe hands because he gave his balls over to Nick Aldis, Gave him over to Nick Aldis. And so we had that on this same show as well. So these kind of moments where Candice has got the mask on, she doesn't really know what's going on. She doesn't know where she is, which way she's facing. Someone's grabbing at her. She lashes out, catches Johnny. Johnny loses. I was okay with it, honestly. I was okay with it. But what I would like, similar to earlier, is just let Nathan Frazer and Johnny Gargano cook. Both of them are fantastic in-ring talents. Just let them cook. Put them on a PLE and let them cook, because they will give you an absolute banger. We know what Johnny was capable of in NXT. We know how good Nathan is. We know how quick he moves and how good his moveset is. So I would just love to let them cook. I think that was the frustrating thing about this show. So much opportunity for great action, and we just never let it cook. Or we let it cook a little bit and then did a screwy finish, like the Miz getting involved, like, you know, this mask moment. So if you are down on it for that reason, I get it. I do honestly get it. But I don't know, there was still a few bits in this that I didn't hate, and I didn't hate that as a creative finish. Then we got to the start of hour 3. We only had a couple of matches left. Drew McIntyre, once again, maintaining that he did not attack Jacob, right? Making it very clear. He called out Sami for not wanting to disappoint his son. He said, well, you've been disappointing him since he was born. When he opened his eyes and realized that Sami Zayn is his father. It's a good line. It's a good line. And then he says, good luck. You're going to need it. Whoever it is that's going to win that fatal 4-way tomorrow at Saturday night's main event. But one of them people is Trick Williams. He was backstage. Trick said he'll give Rey Fenix a title shot when he wins the WWE Championship, but only if he can remember his name. That's how unimportant Rey Fenix is to Trick Williams. I'll give you a title shot, mate, if I can remember who you are, but I don't know. There's no guarantee I'm going to be able to do that. We also had a Kit Wilson moment. There was a bit of a cheer for him. Of course, he's over. The theme song's over. This was a little interaction between him and Matt Cardona that didn't really do much for me, to be honest. He was kind of saying to Matt about how he's showing toxic masculinity, big beefy shoulders. That's part of the problem. Matt didn't have a clue what he was going on about. Matt, I don't know. I think there is some to it. The theme's over, and I think going around calling people toxic could get over. But there's clearly work that needs to be done with this character, with Kit Wilson. That theme song's over. Kit Wilson is over as a result, but it's only because of the theme song. So there is definitely work to be done here. So just a little bit of a backstage moment with Kit Wilson. Then we went to our next match, which was a triple threat tag team match. So this was Lash and Nia versus Alexa and Charlotte versus Giulia and Kiana. And I got to tell you, man, this was messy. This was messy. There was moments where, like, Alexa was looking up, I think at Giulia, sort of, like, waiting for Giulia to do something. And Giulia, like, was waiting. And it was like, what's going on? Is someone going to do something? And then Giulia does jump. Of course, Alexa moves and she ends up hitting Nia. But I don't know, like, it just wasn't clicking. It just felt like there was pauses that were too long, or moves that just looked a little sloppy, or there was just moments in this. There was like a spear by Charlotte where she just looked like she didn't put much effort into it. She just sort of like collapsed into this spear. And it was like, if that was Bron Breakker, it'd be like, boom. But Charlotte, she's like, ugh. And I'm like, my God, what is this? So this for me was the weakest match of the night. This gets good 85 and it deserves it, right? I would say that some of the others that were rated low, you probably could pick up. Certainly Gargano, Nathan Frazer, I think was better than it got scored, but this got good 85 and it deserved it. Winners of the match was Kiana and Giulia. So they are the #1 contenders for the women's tag titles. Those titles, of course, currently held by Rhea and Io. Right, then we were backstage. Sami went up to Drew. Obviously, those comments had been made about his son, and he slapped the taste out of Drew's mouth. So, obviously, Sami is the favourite to win at Saturday night's main event. We're expecting that to be how it goes down. And then that would be Sami Drew at the Royal Rumble. Backstage, we had Cody. He went up to AJ, wished him good luck. Then turned around to go onto his bus. And Drew had popped a signed picture of himself inside the bus, actually. It was seemingly sellotaped on the insides. So that means that he's gone in and, you know, kind of left that picture. So I thought that was a very creative little moment as well. So Cody doing some interesting stuff with Jacob with a sit-down interview. But make no mistake about it, a couple of lines from Drew that I thought were really good. And this moment was entertaining. I do think there's been a step up with the creative. Even if this was not the best of shows, there's still these little moments where you go, that's good. That's good. It's not anything that's like, oh my God, you need to watch this. It's not like unmissable stuff. But there's just these little moments that just keep you engaged and make you go, well, that's good. That's better than last year. I think they were just missing some big stuff on this show. We did get new tag champs, though. I just don't know how much people care. I don't know how much people are engaged in Wyatt 6 versus MFTs. That's why a lot of people might look at that and go, not bothered. Right, Kiana James says her and Giulia are going to be in the Rumble. Giulia will become a triple champion after winning it. But first, it's going to be double champion. So she's already the United States champion. They've got an opportunity at the women's tag titles. And then, of course, they're both going to be in the Rumble. Right, well done to Mattel. The London Toy Fair awarded the Mattel Elite line the Action Toy of the Year award. So I didn't even know. Apparently, it's the 61st UK Toy Industry Awards. I have never heard of them in my life. So there we go. Well done to Mattel for winning an award I have literally never heard of. Then we got to our main event. So Trick came down, Damian came down. This is just a way of promoting what's going down on Saturday night's main event. Sami also arrived after Damian said, don't get involved. Sami was like, don't tell me what to do. So he did come down. He didn't get involved, but he got made to be involved. Here, Trick pushed Damian into Sami. Sami, of course, was not having that. So he would get in the ring. He would go after Trick. That would result in a DQ. So I think technically Trick won by DQ. Sami getting involved. That would upset Damian. This would result in a big brawl. Out of nowhere would be Randy. He would deliver an RKO to Trick Williams. That would get a big cheer from the crowds. Then he would deliver a second one to Sami as the show would come to an end. And that was SmackDown. So I've got to tell you, recap of the match scores. Great 66, good 87, good 90, good 86, good 85, good 91. Anything below good 95 is just not worth it. And every match here, with the exception of the opening match, was well below good 95. In ring this week was poor as a result. I do think there's moments, though, in Frazer, Gargano. We did get new tag champs, and the opening match is great. Really enjoyable. You could definitely check that out, and I think you'd get something from it, but you know what you're getting with that open challenge. It always delivers, and it just delivered once again. I think this suffered a bit from being a go-home for Saturday night's main event. I think this suffers with a little bit lack of star power. Obviously, we know that we got the Royal Rumble coming up. I think SmackDown is going to be fine once we get past the Rumble. We know Roman's coming back. We know there's potential for Jericho to come into the company. Powerhouse Hobbs to come into the company. Chad Gable coming back. Seth will be back at some point. We're expecting Bianca to come back and go after Jade. So there's Tiffany will come back at some point. So there's plenty of people that can come back. There's plenty of people that can come in, like Jericho, like Powerhouse Hobbs. like Evil. There's big rumors of Evil. I don't know that he'll be in a Rumble, but there is reports that Evil from New Japan could be on his way over. So, yeah, I think, you know, this is where we are right now. This show for me is like a 6.25, that kind of range. I don't think it's a disaster for the little things that have been, you know, pretty strong start and then little bits that I can point at. But, yeah, I mean, this is one of those 3-hour SmackDowns that did not need to be 3 hours. This was a bit of a go-home, and this was, for me, a show that I will never revisit. There is no reason here to come back to this show unless you are an MFTs fan and you really do want to see them win those tag titles. But, yeah, for me, this was, I would say, one of the weaker shows of 2026 so far. So 6.25, that kind of range. Not a disaster for the reasons that we said, but we're definitely looking for better than this, to be honest. Certainly when we get into peak WrestleMania season. But I think we will. I think we will get better than this. I'm not expecting this to be the norm. But equally, I ain't expecting this to see any kind of ratings bump. Past couple of SmackDowns have been in the 900,000 range. There really is no reason to think this is going to be any different. So there we go. That was SmackDown. I hope you got something from it. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed it even more than I did. But I still thought that it was okay. So there we go. Thanks for watching. Appreciate you joining these breakdowns. I really do. Obviously, there's going to be an opinions video on the second channel. You can leave your thoughts over there. And don't forget, we are back later for Saturday night's main event. Have a great day. Bye for now.